Hey YouTubers, Console Gamer here. Now today I'll be showing you guys a detailed tutorial on what you guys need to capture HD gameplay on the PS3 and the PS4. This is pretty much only applicable to the PS3 and the PS4. Of course the Xbox doesn't have HDCP or copyright protection. So yeah, let's get started. So what we're going to need, of course, is the Elgato HD Capture, the HDMI Converter. Now there's also a few other variants online like a HDMI splitter and whatnot, but I'm using the trusty HDMI Converter by MonoPrice. Because I'm in Australia and the HD converter is from the US, I've got an AC adapter, as you can see. Cables we need, we've got 6 cables just for the HDMI converter and the MonoPrice, well sorry, the Elgato. That's not including the power supply cable for the PS3, and yeah, that's pretty much it, I think. Now what we're going to need, of course, firstly, in no particular order, we've got the Tosslink cable, so the fiber optic cable. As you can see, this one is 5 meters. You probably don't need that long of a cable, depending on where your setup is, of course. Now we've got the DVI to HDMI cable. Alright, so this is the DVI connection which goes into the HD converter, and this one comes out of your PS3/PS4. So that's the HDMI male in plug. Now we've got the USB to mini USB cable here. So that's the third cable. We've got 2 HDMI cables that we're going to need. One coming from the HDMI converter and out into the Elgato, and the second one from the Elgato to your monitor or your TV. Now lastly, we've got the power supply cable for the HDMI converter. I'm just going to give you guys a demo of each little piece of equipment. We've got the Elgato Game HD Capture, or Elgato Game Capture HD, whichever you want to call it. Alright, so one side we've got the HDMI in and the audio video in. Now we're not going to use the audio video in, we're just going to use HDMI in for our example. On the other side we've got HDMI out and USB out, or mini USB out should I say. So that's the Elgato Game Capture. Alright, so this is our HDMI converter. As you can see, the LEDs at the front, we've got power input and output. There's the top of it and the back of it. So we've got the on and off switch, the power input, coax out, optical out, HDMI out, got DVI in, coax in and optical in. So that's the back of the HDMI converter. So you can pause the video if you like and examine it a bit more further. So I'm going to set up the PS4 with all the cables, bells and whistles and whatnot later on. Yeah, let's get started. Firstly, grab the Elgato and HDMI in. Grab a trusted HDMI cable. Alright, so HDMI in. And that goes into the back of the HDMI converter. So that's going into the output, or going out of the output. Got the Tosslink. Going to connect that up as well. And this is going into the back of the PS4. As you can see, there's only 2 cables in use and it's already really messy. Alright, so a HDMI to DVI. This is going into the HDMI converter, this end. And the HDMI cable is coming out from the PS4. So I'm going to connect it up now. Alrighty, so we're almost there. We've got the USB to mini USB. This goes from the output of the Elgato, the mini USB port, and so this goes into your computer or your laptop. Alright, so we'll push this aside, pretend there's the PC under the table, goes there. Alright, so the second HDMI cable, it goes from the HDMI out port of the Elgato and into HDMI in of your monitor. Can you see that there? Last but not least, we've got the power supply cord, and this one goes to the power. So this is our setup. Alright, so starting from the PS4, we've got the HDMI out that goes into the back of the HDMI converter to the DVI port, this one. Alright, so we've got the Tosslink optical cable out of the PS4 going into the HDMI converter into the input. Or is that an input? No, it's output, so I'll just swap that around. My bad. Alright, so we've corrected the cabling. The input is actually on the right, so the output's on the left, so just remember that. So again, from the PS4 we've got the optical out into optical in of the HDMI converter. Now from the HDMI converter we got HDMI out. This basically goes along into the HDMI in port of the Elgato, and from the Elgato we've got the data link to the PC. So just pretend the PC is there, and of course we've got the HDMI out, which then goes all the way into our output monitor. Alright, and from the HDMI converter we've got the power source, and as you can see I've got my adapter here. So that's pretty much all the cabling, minus of course the power supply cable from the PS3 and the power supply cable of the monitor. Alright, I'm just going to connect it as I would normally do and how I have it set up, so I'll do that now and I'll record everything from there. Alrighty guys, this is my setup. Okay, so if you guys can remember earlier, we've connected the PS4 into the HDMI converter, which is here. Alright, so this cable is coming out of the PS4, HDMI to DVI. HDMI out all the way from the back goes into the input of the Elgato. The data link cable, or the USB cable, goes into the PC. So that captures and stores the footage or the video, and basically, yeah, the HDMI out goes into the back of the monitor. So I'm just showing you guys the Elgato HD Capture software. Here it is. As you can see, there's no signal because it's not detecting anything at the moment. So what we'll do is turn it on. I've got everything plugged in, the power source is in, but I'm going to turn on the switch at the back. As you can see, only 2 LEDs on. We haven't got the output yet because the PS4 is not on. So I'm going to turn it on now. So that's the back of the PS4, in fact. So there's the output LED. Now the software is going to pick up the link, as you can see. PS4 output on this monitor, and I've got the capturing on the right. Alrighty, so as you can see here guys, I've got the HD software on the right monitor, the PS4 on the main monitor, and what I'm going to do now is I'll show you guys a demo of the capture. So what I'll do is let it run for a bit. There's going to be a 2-second delay from the action that's occurring on the screen here to the point where you see there. So I'm just going to move it around, go through the menus, basically just record something. So I'll end the recording. minimize that. I'll go to my repository where I capture all my stuff, and I'll turn the sound up as well. Alright, so this is what we've captured. So that was capturing footage in 1080, and it is 85 megabytes big. So that's pretty much it, guys. That's all there is to it. I know there's a lot to take in if you're doing it for the first time, but yeah, if you have any questions, feel free to shoot me a comment or anything like that. And if you guys want to see more tutorials, feel free to subscribe and check out my other videos. Again, if you have any suggestions, I guess, feel free to comment, and yeah, I'll see you guys online. I hope you enjoyed the video, and thanks for watching.